he's a person that probably can't offer solutions and has a tough time pointing out the problems.
The Yellow Brick Road. This video does not reflect the actual views of real people. These are actors playing a role to entertain audiences. No persons or animals were harmed in the making of this video. Gosh, I love YouTube and I love Google.
New York Times interviewed Jordan Peterson the other day, I guess. And why you... my bad.
I was becoming evil.
Yeah, so the New York Times interviews Jordan Peterson, and he says some very interesting stuff that may sound very dumb, but it might actually be very dumb.
I would say it stems from, well, at least you took a step in the doorway, you know.
Let's try to interpret what he's saying.
All right.
He says something about masculine meaning order and feminine meaning chaos. And he continues to say with this, you can say, well, isn't it unfortunate that chaos is represented by the feminine? Well, it might be unfortunate, but it doesn't matter because that is how it's represented. It's been represented like that forever, and there are reasons for it. You can't change it. It's not possible. It's not possible. This is... What? You can't change it. It's not possible. This is underneath everything. If you change those basic categories, people wouldn't be human anymore. They'd be something else. They'd be transhuman or something. We wouldn't be able to talk to these new creatures. Sorry for the poor reading. I barely see it.
Poor pronunciation as well.
Yes.
Just kidding.
I must talk like Kermit the Frog.
Oh my God! Like I said, the door has already stepped. I mean, the foot has already stepped through the doorway. You know.
So, what do you think he's trying to say with that?
It's a little hard to.
I think he's trying to say...
I mean, I get it, the whole transhuman thing.
What I think he's trying to say is that masculine... Yes, masculine represents order, direct, straight line.
Right.
Feminine represents chaos or dark or unknown.
To another's interpretation of chaos. Disruption of an order, you know. Which would be relative, but it's weird because I don't really know his definition of that. You know,
I think he means what he's saying. Like the words line up with what he actually means. It's just I think he's applying these principles to someone with a penis or someone with a vagina. I think he might be saying that women represent chaos.
You don't represent chaos, Jordan.
Men represent order, which is completely wrong.
Completely wrong. It's very backwards, and I wonder where that came from.
But to be fair, he could mean something.
Sure, but
he could mean the metaphorical or metaphysical masculine and feminine.
I would hope so.
Because he says something like this. Without... Okay, there are reasons why because now it makes it sound like he's talking about people. For reasons why the feminine is defined as chaos. He says you can't change it, it's impossible.
Ooh.
And then he uses if you change those basic categories, people wouldn't be human anymore. Okay. I mean, it's very weird. He says they and shit like that.
Again, I'd have to hear him really explain it, but if it is what you say it could be.
I think he might be representing them as just a human thing.
Well,
as in masculine, feminine, within a person. You can't change it. If you got rid of your feminine, you'd be this robotic thing walking around.
Well, I would say partially incomplete if it was completely gone, you know?
Yeah.
Which is why I understand what he meant by transhuman. It's not us. It's something else. It's a new being-esque.
Well, yeah. I think the transhuman implies like cyborg type thing.
That's what I was like trying to say.
Half man, half technology, with no like feeling or.
It's just
irrational.
Yeah, logical, rational behavior and thinking. It's like what?
So Peterson starts using metaphorical, or I don't know what you want to call them, ancient parable or stories or whatever, or myths, in order to drive home his point that certain people act a certain way because of, I believe, archetypes. Or I believe he's saying archetypes.
Oh, he's trying?
Yeah, which is why he brings up the witch and the dragon thing.
I don't mind that at all. Yeah.
So, yeah, the interviewer's like, he brings up a story about witches live in swamps. There's a reason for that, and kings live in, obscene towers and shit.
Yeah.
And she's like, but witches don't exist. Here's his response.
Yeah, they do. They do exist. They just don't exist the way you think they exist. They certainly exist. You may say, well, dragons don't exist. It's like, yes, they do. The category predator and the category dragon are the same category. It absolutely exists. It's a, was that say?
I can't see.
Subordinate? Superordinate category exists absolutely more than anything else. In fact, it really exists. What exists is not obvious. You say, well, there's no such thing as witches. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's not exactly what you... my bad. But that isn't what you think when you go see a movie about them. You can't help but fall into these categories. There's no escape from them. I hope I read that correctly.
I think he's talking about archetypes.
I mean, if he wasn't...
But he bastardized Jungian's ideas of archetypes and shit. He bastardized them with his own ideas, that there's a reason why men act this way and women act this way.
I'm sure that's putting
It's these archetypes.
Putting a boxing ring around them. That's basically what it is. So I like this. I do. But as far as if it has the right direction.
Yeah. But I do agree with him using metaphor.
I love it.
As him saying, yes, the dragon does exist, but not the
way you think.
Fire-breathing reptile thing.
It might have actually, it might have been there. Its main purpose was to be a parable or an example for a story or meaning, And
for sure.
People might have taken it the wrong way. Probably did. Like Jesus, for example.
There's plenty of dragon stories.
Jesus could be the dragon.
The dragon guards, whatever, a young, beautiful woman.
Oh, sure.
And a shitload of gold. It's like, oh, what does that mean?
No.
Oh, you have to defeat your own, whatever, hurdles, your own demons to get to the beautiful girl and the gold.
When people say, Jesus is the bridge, it's like, oh, look at that bridge. I do... it's like a personal interest of parables and metaphors and whatnot. They're so interesting, but like a symbol in a way. But it's when someone can kind of go off.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to call him out now that he's wrong about you saying that you can't escape archetypes. Of course you can, because you create them. They're not things like masculine and feminine where you can't escape those.
Sure. Wherever
I shine my light, there's another spot I'm not shining my light. Thus you have the masculine feminine dynamic. But
he probably thinks it's not one big dark room. It's a cave. There's one way in and one way out. There's only one way you can shine the light in or out of the cave.
Yeah.
It's like no.
Yeah.
No.
Something like that. I understand you can't escape. Well, what you do is embrace, and you take the entire thing and turn it into one giant thing.
The sad thing is you create
what yin yang is.
You create, yeah, that's right. You create your own tunnel in a way. It's like, I can't get out. Because you won't let yourself get out. You built the tunnel.
Yeah.
There's an exit, and there's an entrance.
But archetypes you can run over with a stone cold monster truck. Just yeah.
Back out, King! Back out!
Rock's new Lincoln! Oh my god!
He's like, that's unfortunate.
But, yeah. So archetypes you can escape from, if that's what he means by this. Yeah, if you have the archetype of whatever, the jock, you can clearly sweep that to the side.
Sure.
Create a new archetype for yourself. That's what they are. They're created, not handed to you from.
If you have the hero.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, moving on. So the interviewer brings up the car attack, where the guy, I guess, gets in a van or something and starts trying to drive into crowds,
right,
and kill people and shit. And this is Peterson's explanation. Good.
Violent attacks are what happens when men do not have partners. Mr. Peterson says, and society needs to work to make sure those men are married. He was angry at God because women were rejecting him, Mr. Peterson says of the Toronto killer. The cure for that is forced monogamy. Enforced monogamy. That's actually what monogamy emerges. Why monogamy emerges. I don't think so, buddy. Well, probably for not the reason he understands, but nonetheless, Mr. Peterson does not pause when he says this. Enforced monogamy is to him simply a rational solution. Otherwise, women will only go for the most high status men, he explains, and that it couldn't make either gender happy in the end. Wrong. That's very wrong. Hold on. It's wrong. Like, so wrong. I don't know where you could have created that.
Yeah.
Like, you're now making like a Spartan society where the young man shall be provided a woman and all will be okay. Like, we all, I don't know if that's true, but we all know how that turned out if it actually worked. You know, go fight and kill.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck out of here.
And for anyone that's calling this article a hit piece, like, if you read that section right there and then use that as like a decipher, as for like a deciphering ring, just wave it over the rest of the article, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, hold on.
Everything else looks crazy now.
You're also wrong. And if you don't agree, debate us.
Debate him.
Yeah, do it. I'll crush you. You will lose. This is ridiculous. It's
not a competition.
The debate. It's just ridiculous here. Like, come on.
Alright.
The whole monogamy thing, it's unbelievable. Like, the whole concept of a soulmate must be established, and if it's established and if it's understood even to the slightest degree, then this will just, all this will be shut down.
Yeah. So,
never heard of Bonnie and Clyde? Never heard of that? They both robbed banks. They shot people. We're not gonna go there.
do I even need to say anything?
Yes, you do. This is ridiculous. I'm not trying to be overzealous right now. This would be calling it a hit piece. Ugh. You can imagine it, even like in a fictional world, based off of real world events. Bad guy Bill and bad girl Mary love each other, but they're both bad people. Bad people. They do bad things.
Or two people that voluntarily marry each other and one ends up murder-suiciding the whole situation.
Yep.
So, this does not hold up at all.
No.
And
I would only hope that he's been misquoted, but
he did.
I highly doubt that he has been. You know? By some sort of something, but I doubt it. This is backwards. Alright. I'm sure throughout the rest of the article he tries to explain it. You know?
I read through it.
Alright, what is it?
I don't think he's trying to explain it.
It's ridiculous.
As you can see, he says it with, he says it without pause.
Violent attacks are what happens to men when they don't have, violent attacks are what happens when men do not have partners. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. Ridiculous. You know what happens? Violent attacks, such as people getting in vans and driving into people, it's a result of a sick society.
I'd say it's a result of heartbreak. But heartbreak doesn't mean my girlfriend broke up with me or my boyfriend broke up with me. That's not the only arena where love is existent. There's plenty of relationships where love isn't existing there at all. As far as like mutual love.
What I mean by sick society is it's I feel it's a better way to say it because that can mean a whole bunch of things with a whole bunch of factors. Majority.
Yeah.
And by society, I mean you could even say the world, that many things would be completely different. You know, completely. No, I'm not saying everyone would be the enlightened, you know, fucking Buddha, you know.
Or is it they just have to learn how to handle heartbreak?
Other than this would not happen, I would say.
Yeah.
Because even the person that doesn't have the greatest understanding, you know, would understand that, oh, this is wrong.
Yeah.
This is an empty action I'm doing here. An incomplete person would do this.
But, in a sense, heartbreak isn't... You're not in your clearest mind.
Sure, but it's also like the...
It's not a pure ego
I'm trying not to say the capacity, but the internal knowledge to obviously know this is not the right thing to do, and you wouldn't even think of it. You know, there'd be no 2 seconds worth of what do you call it? Giving this idea a thought. You know.
Once again, I think you're saying ego.
Yeah, probably.
Because then you have something like schizophrenia, where bad ideas are flowing.
Sure, but
into the mind.
Which, you know, and I might be wrong here, but that might be a result of, you know,
heartbreak. What we call it trauma, if you want.
Sure, which is a result of other shit. You know.
Yeah.
I do believe in a better society. You know, these things would be very rare, and if they did happen, it'd be basically like before the seeds even dropped in the soil, before it fucking blossoms into something horrible. Honestly,
so in a better society, in that sense, it wouldn't exist. Period. Because you'd have.
I said a better, not the one.
Alright. I don't know if all these quotes are correct, which they should be. I can't see where you can defend them at.
There's no
other than the other like symbolic stuff he was saying.
I like those.
But saying this turns everything else from symbol to literally women are this, men are that.
Yeah.
Men are masculine.
It's like labeling.
Women are feminine.
It's like labeling and how do I say this correctly? Enforcing a law. It's like you are this way and you are that way and you're the cause of this. You women. Yeah. I'm not saying Peterson's doing that, but it's like, well, dude, no, I do not agree at all. If you can imagine like a man like mixing like oh, that smells so good, nice big pot of whatever, you know, he's cooking, you're like, oh, and then he just looks at you, smiles, then pours a whole bunch of like shit he's been storing, his own personal like, you know, waste, It's his shit. It comes from his ass. Pours it in there, now it smells. It's like, no! No!
Good luck defending this guy. And thank you for the thumbs down.
Jeez.